Late in the afternoon on Fifth Avenue, glass windows reflected wealth while silence held. A respected family walked out of a luxury store in tears. Inside, no one intervened. Outside, the city kept moving. Within days, bank phones rang without warning. Doors that once opened quietly began to close. The man responsible believed his name carried immunity. The man he had offended did not need to raise his voice. The women were the wife and daughter of Ellsworth, Bumpy Johnson. In Harlem, his reputation was not debated. What force turns a private insult into a public collapse? Late in the afternoon, the polished floors of Bergman and Sterling reflected the muted gold of chandeliers. Two women moved through the aisles, carrying handbags worth more than some families earned in months. They spoke softly, examining fabric and silk, unaware of the storm approaching. A man entered. His face tightened at the sight of them. Shouts filled the boutique. Customers froze. Clothing hit the floor. Racial slurs echoed off the walls. The women did not respond. They did not flee. They only held their heads high and endured the assault. Bystanders watched in discomfort. A store clerk tried to intervene. The man's fury escalated. Legal boundaries mattered little in that moment. The insult was deliberate. The humiliation complete. It was not an accident. It was not anger. It was designed to assert dominance. Within minutes, the women left the store. Outside, the street remained calm. But inside, a message had been delivered. To understand how this happened, we have to go back. Late morning in Manhattan. The streets smelled of exhaust and dust. Sidewalks teemed with shoppers, deliveries, and idle pedestrians. Certain neighborhoods were invisible to those who walked them. Certain doors remained closed, their brass handles untouchable. Unwritten rules determined who could enter and who could not. Stores displayed luxury without compromise. Black patrons were only tolerated in the smallest numbers. A glance could remind you where you belonged. A whispered word could end your visit. Real estate was controlled by families whose names carried weight. Buildings were rented selectively. Applications were quietly dismissed. Leases denied for reasons unspoken but universally understood. Social clubs enforced exclusion. Boards of directors debated the appearance of diversity while maintaining private barriers. Business flourished within these boundaries. Crossing them required courage or carelessness. Financial leverage created power. Money alone did not guarantee entry. Connections mattered. Influence mattered more. Even after the Civil Rights Act passed, the change was slow. Compliance existed mostly on paper. Attitudes lingered. Actions did not. And this was the world Ellsworth, Bumpy, Johnson lived in. Ellsworth Johnson moved through Harlem with quiet authority. His name was spoken with respect, not fear, yet neither was it challenged. He had served time. That service did not diminish him. It amplified his reach. Contacts spanned neighborhoods. Mafia figures, business owners, politicians. Everyone knew someone who knew him. Everyone respected the consequences of crossing him. Prison had forged connections. Alliances had survived beyond bars. Alliances had deepened. Trust was measured, not assumed. Johnson's influence was not announced. It was understood. Dealings were subtle, controlled. A nod, a phone call, a quiet meeting could alter plans citywide. Harlem's streets responded to his presence. Violence was unnecessary. Information sufficed. Strategy replaced impulsive action. His reputation drew others seeking counsel or protection. They left with clarity. They left understanding the invisible lines. They left knowing who controlled the flow of power. Business and crime intertwined. Neither sphere dared oppose him openly. Opportunities for leverage were always calculated. A single misstep could cost more than money. Every ally had value. Every enemy had vulnerability. Johnson understood timing. He understood patience. But power always attracts attention. Rules were unspoken but absolute. Harlem moved according to patterns no outsider could see. Certain actions were tolerated. Others were not. Disrespect of family, betrayal, failure to pay debts. These carried consequences. Johnson's word was final. Silence was expected in his presence. Questions were measured. Opinions were filtered. Those who worked for him understood restraint. Emotions were controlled. Actions were deliberate. Mistakes were rare and punished quietly. The streets responded to signals. One glance could redirect a plan. One call could halt a transaction. All activity was observed. No one moved without consideration of Johnson's awareness. The timing of every action mattered. Deception was expensive. Transparency was currency. Orders were precise. They were followed exactly. Misinterpretation was dangerous. Compliance was not negotiated. Trust was extended sparingly. It was earned over years. Loyalty was tested in small, controlled ways. Breach meant immediate recalibration of the landscape. Breaking those rules always came with a price. It was late afternoon in Manhattan. The boutique smelled of imported fabrics and polished wood. Two women moved slowly, examining the evening wear displays. Their hands brushed silk, wool, and lace. Their voices were soft, measured. A man entered, his eyes fixed on them immediately. He walked with a tension that drew attention. Other customers glanced away. Employees stiffened. The man's steps accelerated. His voice rose. The words came fast, slicing through the boutique. Slurs, accusations, contempt. He seized a dress. It hit the floor. The women did not react. They continued to hold themselves upright. Tears ran silently. They whispered nothing to each other. The scene stretched. Seconds felt like minutes. Shoppers froze. Some shifted uncomfortably. No one intervened. Every insult was deliberate. Every gesture calculated. The store's calm was shattered. The normal flow of commerce suspended. Observers could only watch. The man's fury did not diminish. The women's silence did not invite it. What followed was not immediate. After the incident, silence returned to Harlem, but not the same quiet. Ellsworth Johnson listened. He spoke little. He made calls that left no trace. Information moved through his network like water. Banks received analysis. Partners received warnings. Tenants received guidance. Reports were accurate, precise, and intimidating. No one could point to Johnson as the source. Still, unease spread. People began to doubt their positions. Leverage shifted quietly. A phone call here, a meeting there, a document delivered, small, legal, but strategic. The system bent without breaking. Those who had once felt untouchable started to reconsider their choices. Every action was calculated. Every potential outcome measured. No impulsive retaliation. No violence, only method. Those who understood the rules sensed danger. They did not see the hand behind it. They only saw consequences unfolding. Then, the balance shifted. Within days, the city shifted around him. Loans were called. Partners withdrew. Tenants withheld payments. Protests gathered outside his properties. Media circulated the story of his public outburst. Country clubs reviewed his membership. Invitations stopped arriving. He moved quickly. He called bankers. He called partners. He called advisors. The calls yielded no relief. All paths he had relied on narrowed simultaneously. Pressure mounted from every direction. Those who watched understood. The lesson was clear without explanation. Influence, wealth, and status offered no immunity. No one was ever charged. The months following the collapse were quiet but charged. Stores began adjusting to new expectations. Black shoppers entered without hesitation. Staff treated them with courtesy and attention previously reserved for the elite. Real estate practices shifted subtly. Leases were reconsidered. Maintenance improved. Discriminatory practices faced scrutiny and challenge. Conversations changed in social circles. Exclusion became risky. Reputation was fragile. Allies observed carefully. Criminal networks noted the reach of influence. Strategic action replaced brute force. Respect was earned through caution, not fear alone. The vacuum left by the upheaval reshaped the city. Power moved where it could be exercised discreetly. Opportunities arose for those attuned to emerging realities. The balance of authority had shifted permanently and quietly.